They're saying this technology, not all.
Now. Okay, great. Looks like no one in the Zoom. So welcome to Community Board 3, to the Cannabis Control Task Force. I don't know how familiar you all are with community boards, but we're an official municipal body. Its primary mission is to advise elected officials and government agencies on matters affecting the district's social welfare. So we focus specifically on cannabis applications that are in our district. Since we're all applicants here and I don't have any members of the public, I will kind of go into explaining what you all are going through. But I did just want to provide a few guidelines for tonight's meeting. We are going to follow parliamentary procedure, which is formal. I'm going to have to, recognize you in order for you to speak. It's not because I'm being rude, it's just to make things go smoothly. We have a meeting right after this at 6:30 in the same space. And after the applicant presents on their business, I'm going to ask the task force for questions, and then we'll go to the public if there are members of the public that join us, and I might reserve the right to adjust the agenda. It's 3 items today, so it should be pretty straightforward. Just want everyone to be aware of kind of how things are running. So I'm going to start by taking attendance and roll call. Maybe here. Arnett Scott, here. Jim Keen Rosario, here. And Andrani over there. I'm still learning how to say your full name. Nicodemus. Nicodemus. Okay. Thank you, Andrani. And Sarah Bachu, yes, present. Okay, great. The first item is approval of last month's minutes. I'm going to make a motion to approve last month's minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
Great. And then we will move on to our first application, which is for Just Buds LLC. So I'm just going to do like a brief summary, but then I'll invite you to add kind of anything that's relevant that I haven't briefly summarized. So this is an application for 1014 Joyer Street. An applicant, Randy Chang, is a minority Asian applicant, self-identified in the application. And the application is proposing hours of Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday to Sunday will be 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. In terms of security measures for the smoke, Randy's outlined security guards. We'd love to talk about other mechanisms that might be appropriate. And in terms of community impact, he's spoken about local hiring, which obviously is something we support and of course willing to work with Lesson, our Lower East Side Workforce Development Network. We also, we might need to address, I received a few public comments in opposition because of proximity to schools, to a school and houses of worship, but based on our understanding, office's understanding of the law, while the schools and houses of worship are within the number of feet, they're not on the same road, so the proximity requirement doesn't apply. So it's 200 feet and on the same road for a school and 500 feet. So that's not applicable here because they're not on the same road. So I'm going to stop there and I'm going to let Randy tell us a little bit more about your business and your background, since you do have a connection to this community. I think it would be helpful for folks to hear.
Sure, my name is Randy Chang. I'm a lifelong resident of Chinatown. I went to PS 124. I was a camp counselor at IS 131 when Chinatown YMCA used to be there, and it gets now on the Bowery. My dad, my mom, my brother are all attorneys, and we all still practice in Chinatown. So I think I'm as local as it can get when it comes to Chinatown. So I think I know the neighborhood extremely well. I know the constituents, I know the community. My dad was very active in NAFI and Chinatown Manpower Project. I volunteered there, when I was in high school. I'm 50 years old now, so it's probably 35 years ago. But yeah, I think it's very important to have people open businesses in their local community, not only to support the workforce, but you have an understanding of the neighborhood, you have an understanding of what the people are like, some of the nuances of it. We know what New York City is like. It's a fabric, it's a network of all different cultures, all different backgrounds. And we're not just all New Yorkers, right? Each community has its own issues, has its own concerns, has its own problems. As a former member of NYPD, I was in Queens. I was in the 110, 115, and the 112. I did 4 years in the NYPD. I was in the narcotics division. So I saw the impacts of drugs. I saw the impacts of crime. And yeah, I mean, I was very surprised. Generally, I'm a bit old school. I'm surprised that we legalize weed. But you know what? My feelings on it now are, if it's going to be legal, I think people who have the same concerns, security, safety, education, right, developing the workforce, I think like-minded people should run those businesses. I do come, you know, I'm also an attorney, and I've owned other businesses, but I also think getting people who actually have done the business is very important too, right? Not just approaching a business just purely on the book, so to speak. That's why I have people on my advisory board who have experience specifically in weed. So Lawrence here has I've been friends with Lawrence, personal friends with Lawrence for more than 15 years. He owns businesses in Chinatown, but specifically, him and his family are already in the weed business in California, right? So they have seen things that community boards here probably haven't even thought of or seen. So we could even address those issues in advance. In terms of workforce and working with the community, this young gentleman here is actually gone to prison for weed. He's on my advisory board because we do want to know, you know, what's in a young person's mind. We do want to know their perspective. And like you said, there are schools. There's Mary Bertram. I grew up in Confucius Plaza. There's Mary Bertram. I had friends at PS1. My brother's child goes to Transfiguration. My kids went to Transfiguration in Confucius Plaza. I went to New York Law School. So yes, there's so many educational institutions around. So it's definitely something that we keep at the forefront, and we definitely want to be proactive about that as well. You know, even manipulating our business hours, and obviously strict adherence to the law, strict adherence to the guidelines that New York State has put in place. Checking IDs, using scanning systems. So we have to be very proactive with that. And the last thing I want to add, because I know we have very little time, is I think our location is very good in that. I'm part owner of the building already. I've owned that building for 5 years. So I know that street very well, and it's pretty much become a hotspot in terms of nightlife. I'm sure these applicants have appeared before you in getting their liquor licenses. So I think we're doing it in a spot that is already, I would say, very busy. And it's been it attracts a lot of tourists, it attracts a lot of people from nightlife. So I don't think we're going to make any type of additional impact, let's say, because of what the existing street already looks like. So I think we'll mesh in rather well.
Great. Thank you so much for providing that additional context.
Thank you.
It's always wonderful to have applicants who are from the community. I wanted to ask, do you currently live in the community? Because I had seen that you.
I just have my practice there now.
Got it. Okay. It's always good though, because you have an investment and we like to see that. I did want to kind of respond to the one piece you just said about the area being already kind of an active nightlife spot. We kind of view cannabis slightly different from bars, just given that it's more of a retail operation. People go in, they go out, there's no on-site consumption currently. So one question I have for you is, you know, the hours you're proposing, which kind of overlap maybe a tiny bit with the club bar hours of the area. Like, are you open to slightly earlier closing if that's something that we find from the discussion is important to folks?
Absolutely. I mean, we're open to your suggestions, we're open to some of those concerns. Obviously, our hours of operation are flexible, and I'd be open to discussing with the board, absolutely.
Yes. The other question I had for you is, you brought folks from your advisory board, thank you for joining us. I'm curious kind of what the function of the advisory board is in relation to the operation of the business.
I think it goes back to what I said earlier, which is you can run a business on a very high level in terms of having the lawyers, the accountants, from a finance perspective, from a making the money perspective, but there's a reality, right? There's a reality of how you run that type of business, whether it's a pizza shop, a weed shop, a law practice. So I still think you need people who have done it before,
Sure.
right, to augment what you already know. So I think what Lawrence brings is some of that day-to-day operations, some of that expertise and skill that you need to implement and deploy on a daily basis. So I think that's important.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna just turn to my committee members to see if anybody else has questions. Again, keep it brief.
Just one question. It's great that you're going to employ somebody who has come home. Congratulations for coming home. Sorry that you have to go through that nonsense. So, because you have so many businesses, so is this an investment for you?
No, it's my business. I'm actually the 100% shareholder.
And so you have interest in all of
I'm the only one with interest in this business. I'm the one fully committed. I'm the one that, because I'm from the community, a lot of people do know me and my family. It's my reputation. So I have to run it at the highest levels in the most respectful way to the board, in the most respectful way to the community. And the last thing I need would be people protesting the way I operate, or some kid or somebody underage strolling through the store, So I think that I would take this business very personally. Whether it succeeds or fails, I think it's my reputation in the community.
And you would hire other people who have come home as well?
Yes, I think second chance programs are very important. It's something that also New York State wants businesses to have an open mind to. And not only do you guys want us to work with the Lower East Side employment service, but I think the state also wants us to look at people, second chance offenders, and giving them an opportunity.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay, but brief.
Right. This is just more questions about you, because
Sure.
I've been in Chinatown a long time, since the late 80s. So, what kind of law do you? I'm just curious. What kind of law do you practice?
Real estate and immigration.
Oh, okay. And you have an office in Chinatown?
Yes.
To do real estate and immigration. Okay. And you said you partly own the building at Doria Street.
Yes.
Are you part of this Chinatown Core Block Association? It's like an association of people who
Like
own
a
the
bid?
building. No, it's not a bid.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's a, well, there's a bid. It's a community organization, and it's called Block Association. A lot of the
I'm
building
not part of
owners are
that.
still.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you talk, okay, you said in your application, you said you talked to different profits, and did you talk to them?
I haven't talked to them yet, no.
It would be good.
Sure, definitely.
Because sometimes they often come out against, they should know about it for sure.
Yeah,
I mean, if you're an owner, then and
Yeah.
even though you're not a member of the association, you should
Yeah.
talk to them.
Definitely.
And
After the meeting, if
Yeah.
you give me.
yeah, it's on the
information.
website, the information
Okay.
is on the website.
Okay.
Yeah, sure,
If
you would mind.
Susan can forward me that info, I'll be sure to contact them, yes.
Yeah,
Thank you,
could you said your family is well known here, or they were leaders of AFI or the Y. Could you,
Well,
maybe if you don't.
not leaders, but they were both attorneys, so they advised Chinatown Manpower Project. I think my dad was part of AFI, Sandy Hong.
Okay.
We've heard of-
Yeah, Sandy Hama.
Rocky Chin, Wei Chin. those are all
They're not your
friends.
family, I know them quite well.
Yeah, no, I'm saying they're family friends of ours.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
David J. Louis.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pause there.
That's it,
and
that's
I'm
it.
gonna
I'm
turn-
done.
I'm gonna turn to, if we have any members of the public here to speak about Just Buds LLC. Okay, I'm gonna come back to our committee, temperature check on how folks are feeling about the application and whether they support.
Yes, I support.
It's like a
Except
softball
when
at this
if
point.
you talk to that block association. Because when they don't know about things, they
Yeah.
complain, and they know how to complain.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah, it's really ensure your success as a business. How are you feeling?
I'm better, so I don't have a lot of fight, so it's
Yeah,
it's a good day to have applications in front of you.
I think my main concern is like that area doesn't have nightlife, and adding more nightlife to it doesn't tend to make your residents around you happy. And so again, just thinking about how the business is more of a store and not like a hangout spot when people are going out and their place to light up before they go out.
I can kind of add on to that.
But right now it's parliamentary procedure. We're just giving unsolicited advice. Just building off of what May said in terms of talking to local block associations, just I think being conscious of that in the business model. But thus far, I think folks are generally supportive, so I'm gonna propose that we do a resolution to support. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so I have a template that I'm gonna fill out. Should I do it there? But I didn't open it on my computer, really. But I guess Lotus, I'm sorry, you will not see the resolution, but we'll read it out loud when it's done.
No, Lotus, I asked if they were here to speak to something, they haven't responded, so.
Okay, great. Okay, so I just need to add in one thing and then I'll read it aloud and we'll pass it. Yes, but it doesn't seem that anybody else.
Well, I think that would be earlier.
What hours are you proposing, May?
They have to till 10 o'clock or something.
They have till 10 on Saturday and Sunday. We have closing by 8, Monday to Friday, and 10.
Well, it's kind of late for Sunday. I mean,
You have to have 70 hours.
oh, they have to have 70.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind
So-
of hard to get
It's
those
hard
amount of
to-
hours without having some leak.
Yeah, I mean, 10 p.m. isn't the latest in my opinion. I just asked in case you guys. I just don't like seeing those like 2 a.m. and
Yeah.
midnight.
Oh, yeah.
Which seem unnecessary for a
Okay.
store. They're not allowed to go past 2 a.m. Okay, so it sounds like we're not recommending a change to the hours, but again, be conscious of who you're bringing in and the flow in that area, definitely our recommendation. So I'll read the amendment aloud. Whereas Just Buds LLC is seeking an adult use retail dispensary license in the premises located at 1014 Doyer Street between Powell and Bowery Streets, New York, New York. And whereas the applicant appeared before Community Board 3 on January 8th, 2024 to allow the community the opportunity to provide comments on the proposed business. And whereas whereas 2 residents contributed letters in opposition to the application, and the Community Board 3 finds no concerns with the proposed business. Therefore, be it resolved that Community Board 3 recommends the application for an adult use retail dispensary for Just Buds LLC, provided that the applicant agrees to the following signed notarized stipulations: that it will close by 8 p.m. Monday to Friday and by 10 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, and it will have no music emanating from the business. That's something we always ask of our applicants. I am going to now call for a vote. Arnett Scott,
Yes.
Sarah Bachu, yes. May Lee, Johnny Rivera, Nicoderm.
Yes.
Yes, and Jaylene Rosario.
Yes.
Okay, this motion passes. I have one piece of paperwork for you to do, but I'm gonna, we'll keep it rolling. Can we do it in 10
Thank you,
minutes?
Susan.
Oh, you
Okay.
want to do it now?
Oh, we can do it after.
Or we can email it. to you.
Email it, we'll
Oh,
email it.
We'll email it to you.
It says a simplified version of that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
and now we're gonna move on to our second item. Thank you everyone for being speedy today. Washington Place Dispensary LLC. I'm going to give, actually, I don't have your application, so I'm gonna let you give a little overview of your business model and
Congratulations.
if you could just call out the hours and location, those things are important.
All right, so I'm Greg Manro, born and raised in New York. I have children currently living in Manhattan. I have numerous businesses that I've had in the past and currently in New York City, New York State. Retail, I have a few pizza places, a soul food restaurant, a warehouse, auto part warehouse. My business model is basically, like, I'm very familiar with the retail industry. So my plan is to have a very good flow of traffic going in and out with the specific building that I had in mind that I'm going for is 159 Bowery Street. I plan on changing the frontage, so I have a entrance and an exit, so I have good flow of, traffic going in and out. Plan on having security consisting of retired police officers on site, all hours of operation. Depending on the outside queuing, I don't plan on having any outside queuing. Maybe the first day of grand opening, because it's gonna be a little busy and everything, just like any other store like Kith or Supreme, or even as like Barnes, we have sample sales, everybody's got the line outside. Security measurements are all in place. I've been in the marijuana industry my whole life. Unfortunately, a lot of it was the black market. I did federal time for marijuana also. And I'm just here basically, like, I have 2 children, so I know everybody's concerns and the community concerns about, lettering and how it packaging attracts kids and everything. So that's one of my main issues also to, make sure that everything's compliant and ran by how the state was and the local authorities and everything. So, yeah, basically very eager and ready to open up to have a nice successful business in the area.
Okay, so just reminding everyone, this is a card applicant. In the past, we passed a resolution that we will not be passing resolutions in support or denial of card applicants. So I'm just gonna open up the floor to everyone in the committee to ask questions, propose ideas and feedback to help strengthen the business. Go ahead, John.
Okay, I guess my question is, do you have a lot of retail businesses, pizza places and others? So this would be your first entry into cannabis?
Legally, yes.
Legally. And like yourself, you will also employ other people who will come home?
Oh, yes, 100%. Yeah, I'm gonna have a diverse hiring process, I'm not leaving anybody out.
Actually, since you will have retired police officers, how do you think that will work?
I'm sorry?
If you're gonna have retired police officers as security, so what will that dynamic be?
I believe that they are the most well-equipped and educated on anybody to protect the area and my business, because they're involved in law enforcement. They know the rules, they know the laws, they know how to deal with certain people in certain situations. They're vetted in. They've been there, done that, I feel. I also come from a family of policemen and firefighters.
Thank you.
Do they already have a lease? Do we have, because we don't have the application to
Susan, do we have
They were posted, the applications.
the lease though?
the lease?
The lease.
Oh, yes, I haven't been making the leases public, but we have proof of ownership.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my question. I wanted to know if you've already signed a lease for the site that you're looking at.
It's actually a full building, so it's a freestanding building, which I like to be occupying the whole building as well. So I won't have any tenants above me, no one connected to me. I've walked the neighborhood and went to some of the stores and spoken to a bunch of the owners around there. A lot of them were on vacation at the time. I did speak to a few. Being the time that I had allotted to me, the injunction was lifted, didn't really give me much time to do everything that, community outreach and stuff like that, but that is all planned to be done.
Also, on Bowery, we've had quite a few applications for that street. So I'm not quite sure how it's gonna work out. Once, because like you said, card was on hold for a minute. So we've had a couple of applicants that had card and general licenses that have been approved already. Just thinking, moving down the line, if by chance there is some sort of new law, rule, or whatever put in place, how comfortable are you able to,
Adjust,
yeah.
right? When you say new rule,
Like, I'm thinking, I don't know what cannabis is doing, I don't know what OCB
I mean, I'll
is.
So
Conform.
what it is they're doing it, if I can explain, they're doing it by lottery. They're taking
Okay.
all the applicants, it's a terrible system. They're taking all the applications, throwing them in a pot and picking them out by lottery. And then if you're approved, then no one else can be for 1,000 feet.
proximity protection.
You can correct me if I'm wrong. So it's the luck of the draw, we're not ready yet, you can sit down. So it's the luck of the draw.
Okay.
The law's already made, it's very unfair because they've already put all this money in,
Mm-hmm.
but that's just the way it is. So there will not be anyone within 1,000 feet of that. It's terrible.
It's fun.
It's
Yeah.
terrible, but we have.
Okay, so yeah, that's all I wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, May, and then we'll come back to you, John.
You rented the whole building?
That is, yes.
What are you gonna do with the other floors? Is the whole building gonna be a retail operation?
I'm gonna have administration on the floor, and with the card, you're allowed a consumption lounge, but that's not on the, that's, that's
The
secondary.
future. It's
Yeah,
in the
that's,
future.
I have to get, unfortunately, I have to get the property for what my needs are gonna be. If down the line something does happen, and then I have my property, it's very fun. But yes, the whole building is going to be my use. One floor is definitely gonna be all administration, and one floor will be the dispensary. I also have another floor for inventory and the vault, the money, the inventory.
I just want to pause because I want to see if there's members of the public, because there's one. George, are you here to speak on Washington Place LLC, a dispensary LLC? You could speak. Yeah. Just in case. If you are here to speak on that item, I invite you to do so at this moment. Hybrid is hard for everyone. Okay, seems like he's not. He'll let Clint know if he is. You can just use the chat if you are, and then I'll go back to you and Johnny just to make sure, and then Jaylene, the last question. And Johnny.
Oh, my quick question was, you said you were born and raised in New York. Do you live in the area as well?
I do not, I just recently went through a divorce. My ex-wife, my 2 kids live in Chelsea, but I'm every day in this. I have my restaurants right over the bridge in Brooklyn, so I'm back, it's my every day.
So you're invested in the area.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Jaylene, go ahead.
Apologies if I missed it, but what are your hours of operation?
Oh, I'm sorry, I did get excited at the beginning, and I just probably got nervous and went off topic. 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. is really what I want to do. I don't see myself needing anything more past that. If anything on the weekend, maybe a Friday or Saturday, if I feel and if I'm allowed to go to 10 o'clock, I will, but I'll just have to gauge that on how the business is and what we're calling for.
So
Oh, I'm sorry, so I would do Monday through Thursday from 10 to 8. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday until 10 p.m. If allowed.
yeah,
Again, I'm going to be going by the guidelines and the state and local laws of what I'm allowed to do, the community. I'm not really.
yeah, so you have to have 70 hours, you can't be open past 2, we
Correct,
don't
I
let,
submitted it, but I
Yeah,
guess guys don't have it.
so I think, for that particular area, it's much more commercial area. Most of the hours we've been seeing from applicants have been closures by 10, in some cases midnight. So that makes sense for that part of town. Does anyone, I think because we're at 6:30 now, I'm gonna have to wrap it up. We don't, again, take a vote on this, but we've provided very brief feedback tonight. And of course, you're in touch with Susan for more additional feedback if needed. So I'm going to call roll call to adjourn.
Is there no community feedback on this at all?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay.
Yeah, here, you
You
can.
don't have nothing to say?
No, sorry.
Here,
Here you go.
she didn't know,
I'm sorry.
that anyone was here to speak.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Can we speak?
Yes,
Yeah.
feel free.
Yeah, that's why I gave you the phone.
You know this neighborhood, right? Stoyer Street.
Oh, unfortunately, that applicant has already presented. This is a different applicant.
So what applicant is this?
This is Washington Place Dispensary LLC. He's on Bowery Street, which is a little bit further away from
So
where.
what happened to the cannabis joint?
So Just Buds LLC, he presented a little bit earlier in the meeting and we voted in support of the application.
Why?
You know,
Yeah, I guess I'm happy to talk to you separately, but we have to.
See, this is
call
the
meeting.
problem. Our community doesn't know about these meetings where these institutions that we have Health Square and Ludlow Street.
Yeah,
Now you want to make Doyer Street Health Square for Chinatown, right?
sir, I'm happy to speak with you separately.
It's not speaking, I'm just talking about being able to express the community's concern about bringing a cannabis operation into the heart of Chinatown. Already, Doyer Street has 3 bars, 2 discos. You know what's happening on that street. You guys are greenlighting all this stuff.
I hear your concerns. They were surfaced in the conversation we
Well,
had. and
I'm
happy
sorry
to-
I missed it, but that's the whole point. A lot of people are working, they cannot come here at 6 o'clock on the dot. But we still have a voice that we have to speak up about what's happening to our community.
Absolutely, I understand.
We've been under attack for the last 2 years. Now we have cannabis joints all over the place, unlicensed by the way. Now you want to put a licensed one in the heart of Chinatown. And you already gave it a rubber stamp without any feedback from the community.
It could have been here.
don't.
Like I said, people
It's
work.
not necessary, nor helpful.
Yeah, well, we don't have to open up cannabis with joints in Chinatown.
What's your name?
Victor Huey.
Victor, I'd love to talk to you. Our colleagues on our state.
I want to put this on the record, what I'm saying.
I understand, and you're being recorded at the moment, so it is on the record. I do need to call this meeting to adjournment because we have another meeting that's now starting, our colleagues on our state liquor authority committee, but I'm gonna stay here and I'd like to talk to you. Okay, I'm gonna do the vote to adjourn, folks. Mei Lee, here, Jaylene Rosario. You say Jaylene Rosario.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you. Intrami Nicodemus Rivera. And Arnett Scott. Here. Sarah Bachu. Yes. Okay, we are adjourned.